Hi there guys, Kieran here. Thanks for checking out this video. So this one's going to be a little bit different from what I've done previously on the channel. I wanted to kind of do a video that reflects basically, what this channel is actually about, and that's film composition. So about 2.5 months back I was asked to work on a project, which was a feature film. So what I thought might be a cool idea was to do a vlog slash documentary on a behind the scenes process of making the score for a feature film. That was the original idea, but with COVID and everything, things were pushed back so much that in the end, we're still very much in the pre-production phase. So I wanted to kind of reframe the idea because I wanted to make, this kind of video. But what the next 10 minutes are basically going to be is all the stuff you can expect to run into when working on a film in pre-production. So it's going to kind of cover things such as setting up project templates, how I myself will read scripts and then make notes on them, and then formulating them notes into, potentially making some, sketches and demos for the director. So as I said, I wanted this to be a documentary, but also a YouTube tutorial. So, you yourself may be able to pull some information from on what you might expect to run into when working on a film in pre-production. Okay, so now we're going to have a little look at kind of the project template that I've just set up for when I start writing some cues and music for the film. So if I open up Logic here, you can see I've got some instruments already loaded. One of the reasons I think this is a really good thing to do is just because, for me especially, when I open up Logic and I see that blank screen, I immediately think, God, where the hell am I meant to start? So once, if you've created a project template, it just kind of eliminates that and helps you be a bit more kind of efficient with what you want to do. It definitely helps if you've already had a conversation with the director beforehand about what type of sounds you want, because that can kind of formulate how you set up these templates. For me, me and the director spoke about having a mix between 80s kind of John Carpenter synth stuff and then the more modern orchestral approach with films like The Conjuring, The Babadook, Dead Silence, stuff like that. So first up, I've got this sample library called Thrill, which is by Galaxy Instruments. Now this is a really, really cool one. I use this a lot on horror projects. And you've got two instruments either side here, and you've got a morph pad in the middle where you can basically blend between these instruments, creating these kind of dissonant soundscapes, which is really, really cool. So I'll just play this for you now. So yeah, I mean, that's just great. And either side you can change what instruments you have. So hybrid mallets. Let's see what that sounds like. Nice, yeah, it's got a little waterphone in there as well, so obviously great for horror. But yeah, I absolutely love this sample library, and I think it's a really, really great one to have in your kind of arsenal. So next up, I've got some orchestral stuff. I've got Spitfire Albion 1, I've got Spitfire solo library as well. I'm not going to play any of these for you guys, you know what they sound like. These are some low octave ones just for some kind of drones and some atmosphere. Staccato stuff for the more kind of tense action scenes that there are going to be, I suspect. And then the third kind of section I've got here is for the synths. So I'm using Artura Analog Lab, and this is a really, really great sample library. You got 6,818 presets. That's just for the type of keywords I've put in. There's a lot more. So yeah, I've just got some synths in here that I like to work with. Some of them are some sound design and soundscape ones. Other of them are just stereotypical bass arps, like forgetting that kind of retro 80s, vintage synth sound. And then lastly, I've got Audio Imperia. I'll be honest, I'm not a massive fan of their string sounds, but I am a big fan of kind of the percussion and their sound design stuff. I'll just give you a quick example of this. Is Talos. This is a brass sample library, and just in the drone section. So it sounds like this. So you can see the more you kind of play around with that type of sound, that'll definitely take me in an interesting territory. So yeah, I mean, it's quite a simple project template. There's not a lot of stuff going on there at the minute, just because I don't want to overcrowd it. Especially in these early stages. But yeah, I'm quite happy with, as I said, based on the conversations I've had with the director, this is kind of moving in a nice progression now. So yeah, so this is the project template. So what I thought might be a good idea today is to get out of the room a little bit and bring you guys on a walk with me and my companion buddy. Tonight I'm going to be getting a copy of the script, and basically I'll be spending the majority of the evening kind of just going through and making some rough notes on maybe, you know, characters and any specific scenes that stand out to me, and then from there I'll kind of maybe, you know, ask to see some, you know, treatments and mood boards, just so I can get a basic flavour of, you know, what the colour grade might be like, because that can impact heavily on, you know, the aesthetic of the music and, you know, what it might sound like. And you want to make sure that, or at least I do anyway, that the music fits and syncs up with not only, you know, just sounding great, but also with the visuals themselves. Okay, so what I wanted to have a look at now is a kind of temporary cue sheet that I've set up, basically just from reading the script and looking at the mood boards. Now, I'm not saying that composers will always have this amount of time to be able to do stuff like this, but this is just one of those advantages of us, you know, coming on a film this early in pre-production. Normally you'll do something like this towards, you know, at the end of a project when the score's finished, and it will contain, you know, it'll look similar to this, but it will contain kind of time code start, end, you know, the specific reel and the kind of part in the film where the cue is. But this is just very much a demo cue sheet, basically just highlighting where I think music can go and what it could sound like. I've got some sections here with scene, so it basically just describes, you know, as it is, the scene. The soundscape that I think could be used, what type of instrumentation we could look at, and then also some other kind of little charts here. I've made this spreadsheet to be a collaborative thing, so Louis himself, the director, can edit it and add notes, and that's basically just kind of what I've got here. But yeah, this actually goes on for quite a bit longer, but I've grayed out some of the stuff, because otherwise you'd know exactly every scene in the film. But yeah, as I said, this is just one of those nice things that, you know, you can do when you have this, you know, amount of time to plan and just to get organized, and it just kind of sets you off on a good path and keeps you on that kind of keeps the momentum going, basically. So what I started doing yesterday was starting to think of some ideas for a theme for the main character. The director and I had a chat, and we kind of talked about not having anything orchestral, not having any piano stuff, something original that kind of represented her character and a lot of her kind of personality traits. So I started playing around with a telly and my Kemper, creating some reverbs and delays, and came up with a piece that I thought kind of fitted really, really well with what we both wanted to achieve for the sound. So as you can see from that last clip, I did buy myself some new gear. But the reason why I did that is because, as I've discussed before, from the conversations I've had with the director, the score is largely going to be a mix between kind of modern orchestral scoring, more leaning in the horror genre, fused with kind of retro-based synth music from 80s films, like with John Carpenter scores from Escape to New York and stuff like that. So for me, I wanted, you know, something particularly to carry the lead lines of the synth music, which had that warm analog sound. And while you can get, you know, brilliant emulations with soft synths, which I frequently use, I did just want to have a physical piece of kit, just to kind of tweak for these lead lines, and, you know, especially for the arpeggiated stuff, which is so common in kind of retro synth music. And I had a look at the Moog Mother 32 and the DFAM, and they just seemed to fit really well with the type of sound I wanted to go for. And it also justified me buying them because I've wanted them for a while. Okay guys, so this pretty much wraps up the video for me, at least part 1. As I said in the beginning, I will be following up as soon as possible with a part 2 where I'll actually be scoring to the picture of the film. If you guys have any suggestions on what you might want to see throughout that stuff, whether it's, you know, how I import stuff into Logic, or you know, how I split stuff up in Premiere, that type of thing, please do let me know. But thanks for checking it out, and if you've enjoyed, please do subscribe for more content like this in the future.